Hello and welcome to Making News. Make UK's Industrial Strategy Skills Commission's report comes at a critical time for UK manufacturing. Not only is the government putting the finishing touches to its Industrial Strategy Green Paper, but it's also gearing up for a crucial spending review that will set in stone government budgets, including for things like skills and education, for the next 3 years. I'm joined by Jamie Cater to discuss the report. Jamie, tell us, what is the report trying to achieve?
Central to what the Industrial Strategy Skills Commission is looking to do is to make the case for additional resources for sectors like advanced manufacturing in the context of the industrial strategy, and for resources to go to skills. In practice, what that means for government as we approach the spending review is taking the what we estimate as around £800 million in unspent apprenticeship levy funds. That's money that employers are paying into the system that isn't being used in the apprenticeship budget at the moment, for that to be ring fenced, allocated to apprenticeship and skills provision. The same with the immigration skills charge. That's the money that employers pay as a fee when they recruit people from overseas using the skilled worker visa system. That gets us close to £1.5 billion that businesses are paying into the system, uh, that they're not seeing any return on. And this is at a time when, we all know we have critical skill shortages, 55,000 unfilled vacancies in the sector. So that's really at the heart of the Commission's recommendations, is to capture all of that funding, ring fence it, and use it for its intended purpose.
The Commission isn't just asking for government to spend money, actually money that's already been allocated but hasn't been spent, but also wants manufacturers to play their part as well, as some of them do brilliantly already at the moment, but many more can help themselves in this as well.
The Commission outlines in its report, as you say, Nick, some really good examples of best practice in the sector at the moment. The Commission had the opportunity to visit numerous manufacturers. One of those, for example, is David Nieper, garment manufacturer in Alfreton. They've done some brilliant work with a local school that they've sponsored, turned around, and they have a brilliant focus on employability skills, technical routes for those young people. So those are the kinds of solutions we're thinking about, where it's about employers and industry being proactive in making that contribution, and actually not just for their own workforce as well, but for the good of the sector, their local community. They need the support in funding and policy terms from government to be able to do that properly. So it's about that partnership and that working together between industry and government and the education sector as well.
Yeah, this skills covenant that the report talks about, it also means that the government must bolster the training of teachers and lecturers at local education colleges who are capable of bringing young people and existing workers into the skills they need for the future economy.
That's critical, and I think it's one of the things that came across really strongly in the evidence the Commission received over the course of its work, was some of those constraints on education providers, whether that's FE colleges, schools, independent training providers. There are three factors, I think, for providers. One is the fact that apprenticeship funding bands haven't been revised or updated, even to account for inflation over recent years. So the rise in cost of delivery hasn't been met by government funding. There's limited room for additional capital investment. So those providers, in some cases, are struggling to have up-to-date machinery and equipment that apprentices and learners might be expected to go off and use when they're in work, but they don't have the opportunity to practice on that same equipment when they're in college, doing their off-the-job training. And what kind of sits across both of those things is exactly as you say, Nick, that shortage of skilled workers in education. We know about the challenges facing employers. Colleges and training providers are facing exactly the same issue. They can't get the the skilled workforce to be able to teach those courses. And even where providers have been able to invest in that kind of up-to-date, modern, exciting machinery and equipment for apprentices to use, often they're left without the staff who know how to use that and are able to teach the apprentices and learners how to use it. So even where that investment is being made, in some cases, it's almost going to waste.
And fine point, Jamie. I mean, the Commission chose its name very deliberately. It is the Industrial Strategy Skills Commission. An industrial strategy cannot work fully or properly for the UK unless skills lie at the very heart of it.
We're at a particular moment in time where the government is thinking about how to deliver its industrial strategy. And we've been very clear in the report the way in which those, really positive aims and intentions of an industrial strategy will be completely undermined if the government cannot get to grips with the skills gap in the sector. What we've seen over the last 10 days or so from government is some really positive moves in relation to the construction sector. 600 million of funding for that sector around sort of targeted interventions that actually are not dissimilar to the sorts of recommendations our Industrial Strategy Skills Commission is making. So it shows that government is able and willing to invest heavily in a sector which can and will deliver economic growth, as long as it has the skills to be able to do that. That investment from government is really positive. And what I think we want people to take away from the Industrial Strategy Skills Commission is we can do a similar thing in manufacturing, and our sector, with all the brilliant work it is already doing, as I say, it stands ready to partner with government to deliver that. But we need government to uphold its side of the bargain as well. And that starts with making those decisions on ring fencing funding, funding providers properly to deliver the training employers want to invest in. And that's kind of empowering manufacturers and engineering employers to invest in their workforce, not just in young apprentices, but people already in work as well.